Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. Let's make a start. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunj Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunj Bihari. Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jai Giravardhari. Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jai Giravardhari. Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana, Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava, Jayo Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Gyan Anjana Shalakya Chakshur Umritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutle Swam Rupa Kadamahyam Datati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vyasvacha Shri Rupam Sagdiratam Saganaragunatamitam Samjaritam Sajivni Savdetam Savadutam Prajna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shiva Shakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Din Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutta Devi Pran Mami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kirpa Sindhuvevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Gaur Bhakt Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam Goti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpata Mandashi Gurundin Taranam Paramnanda Madhav Shitaneshram Hariyam Tassat Naram Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Uduriyat Nashta Presha Abduration Nitamam Se Bhaktutam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtiki. Okay, Hare Krishna. So we are talking about Maharaj Parikshit, and last time we were discussing, we comparing Arjun to Maharaj Parikshit. You know, we talk about all the qualities of Maharaj Parikshit, and different personalities have been compared to him, even Arjun. And Arjun is very relevant because one is his grandfather, and also Maharaj Parikshit, he can shoot arrows in the dark just like Arjun, and you know he's very strong, and he's also being used as an instrument by the Lord. Arjun was an instrument in manifesting Bhagavad-Gita, and Maharaj Parikshit will be the instrument for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So there's big connection there in so many respects with Arjun. So let's continue. We're on verse 22. Okay. Let's say 22, 23. Yes, fine. 23 is fine. Pitamaha samasamye prasade girisho pamaha ashraya sarva bhutanam yatha devo rama ashraya. So Pitama, the grandfather, O Brahma, Sama equally good, Samye in the matter, Prasade in charity or in munificence, Girisha, Lord Shiva, Upamaha, comparison of equilibrium, Ashraya, resort, serve all Bhutanam of the living beings, Yatha as Deva, the Supreme Lord, Rama Ashraya, the personality of Godhead. So this child will be like his grandfather, Yudhishthira. So still the Brahmanas are talking about Maharaj Parikshit. This child will be like his grandfather Yudhishthira, or Brahma, in equanimity of mind. He will be munificent, like the Lord of the Kailash Hill, Shiva, and he will be the resort of everyone, like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, who's even the shelter of the goddess of fortune. So, we have last few days we have been hearing so many qualities of Maharaj Parikshit, and for his life to be cut short, it just shows how important Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is, that for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, such a personality's life had to be cut short to do that. So, when you weigh the two, you have Maharaj Parikshit with so many qualities on one end, and then you have Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam on the other. It seemed that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam was more important for that to happen. Otherwise, Krishna could have saved him, but his main reason for taking birth was so Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam could be introduced to the people in all the sages and then the general public. So mental equanimity refers both to Maharaj Yudhishthira and to Brahma, the grandfather of all living beings. So according to Srila Swami, the grandfather referred to is Brahma, but according to Vishwanath Chakravarti, the grandfather is Maharaj Yudhishthira himself. But in both cases, the comparison is equally good, because both of them are recognized representatives of the Supreme Lord, and thus both of them have to maintain mental equanimity, being engaged in welfare work for the living being. Any responsible executive agent at the top of administration has to tolerate different types of onslaughts from the very persons for whom he works. So Brahmaji was criticized even by the gopis, the highest perfectional devotees of the Lord. The gopis were dissatisfied with the work of Brahmaji because Lord Brahma, as creator of this particular universe, created eyelids which obstructed their seeing Lord Krishna. So, when you're at the top and you're in charge, I think we need to be prepared for criticism. Srila Prabhupada was criticized by his godbrothers for giving this knowledge to the Yavanas, to the foreigners. You can never win. You cannot please everyone. You please one party, you upset another party. The highest perfectional devotees of the Lord, the gopis were dissatisfied with the work of Brahmaji, so they could not tolerate a moment's blinking of the eyes, for it kept them from seeing their beloved Lord Krishna. So what to speak of others who are naturally very critical of every action of a responsible man. So although the gopis were actually glorifying Krishna in this instance by criticizing, but some people otherwise have a habit of finding criticism in everything. They'll find fault where fault is not due. That's their nature. Similarly, Maharaj Yudhishthira had to cross over many difficult situations created by his enemies. And he proved to be the most perfect maintainer of mental equanimity in all critical circumstances. So, we are always looking for glorification, inspiration, a pat on the back all the time. So, we say, oh, that's what keeps us going. Always need assurance from others that, yes, Prabhu, you're doing so well, keep it up. You're doing this, you're doing this. So we need that assurance all the time. It's human nature as well to get approval of people, but we should be confident to know that what we are doing is the right thing. Anything that's taking us towards dharma can only be the right thing. So we should not always need approval. Criticism will be always there. A smart person sees criticism as background noise. There's always interference, some background noise. So just see it like that. So therefore, the example of both grandfathers for maintaining equanimity of mind is quite fitting. So, in other words, they both got criticized, but they didn't, take much notice of that. Lord Shiva is a celebrated demigod who awards gifts to beggars. His name is therefore Ashutosh, or one who is pleased very easily. He is also called the Bhutanath, or the Lord of the common folk, or mainly attached to him because of his munificent gifts. Even without consideration of the after effects, Ravan was very attached to Lord Shiva, and by easily pleasing him, Ravan became so powerful that he wanted to challenge the authority of Lord Ram. Of course, Ravan was never helped by Lord Shiva when he fought with Ram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Lord of Lord Shiva. So, if anybody wants to know why we don't worship Lord Shiva instead of Ram or Krishna, it's mentioned here because Supreme Personality of God and the Lord of Lord Shiva is the Lord of Lord Shiva. To Vrikasur, Lord Shiva awarded a benediction which was not only awkward but also disturbing. Vrikasur Asur became empowered by the grace of Lord Shiva to vanish anyone's head simply by touching it. So he had that bone. Although this was awarded by Lord Shiva, the cunning fellow wanted to make an experiment of the power by touching the head of Lord Shiva. Thus the Lord had to take shelter of Vishnu to save himself from trouble. And the Lord Vishnu, by his illusory potency, asked Vrikasur to make an experiment with his own head. So Lord Vishnu has this illusory potency that we are all under, Brahma has been under, Indra has been under. This illusory and energy potency is so strong, it can fool anyone. Nobody is immune to this illusory energy. And the only way we can protect ourselves is by taking shelter of the Lord. The fellow did it. The fellow did it and was finished himself. And so the Lord was saved from all sorts of trouble by such a cunning beggar of the demigods. The excellent point is that Lord Shiva never denies anyone any sort of gift. So whether it's whether it's detrimental to them or even to himself, he still, they ask for something and he gives it. He's therefore the most generous, although sometimes some kind of a mistake is made as well. And then Lord Brahma or Lord Vishnu has to go and sort out the mess basically. So Rama means the goddess of fortune and her shelter is Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is the maintainer of living beings. There are innumerable living beings not only on the surface of the planet but also in other hundreds of thousands of planets. All of them are provided with the necessities of life for the progressive march towards the end of self-realization. But on the path of sense gratification, they are put into difficulty by the agency of Maya, the illusory energy, and so travel the path of a false plan of economic development. Such economic development is never successful because it is just illusory. These men are always after the mercy of the illusory goddess of fortune, but they do not know the goddess of fortune can live under the protection of Vishnu. Without Vishnu, so she can live only under the protection of Vishnu. Without Vishnu, the goddess of fortune is an illusion. We should therefore seek the protection of Vishnu instead of directly seeking the protection of goddess of fortune. Only Vishnu and devotees of Vishnu can give protection to all, and because Maharaj Parikshit was himself protected by Vishnu, it was quite possible for him to give complete protection to all who wanted to live under his rule. So Maharaj Parikshit had taken shelter of Vishnu, so he has that potency to help protect other people as well. Just like the demigods, when we ask them something, they have to go and ask the Lord, to give it to us. Although we just mentioned that Lord Shiva gives it anyway, but they usually ask Lord Vishnu for that, to give that boon or protection in this case. So here it's mentioned that Maharaj Parikshit, because he is in direct contact with the Lord, he can also help other people as well by giving them protection. Wonderful. So let's see for 23, we have anything to add? So Maharaj Parikshit is compared to the great personalities because he was not easily disturbed by criticism or somebody by threats, anything like that. He was not easily disturbed. He could see situations as they are and not make decisions in a disturbed condition, because we always make harsh and wrong decisions when we are disturbed. If the devotees take shelter of the Lord, then they become empowered to give protection. So Krishna empowers you, just like Maharaj Parikshit, he could protect people because he's empowered by Vishnu. One cannot give protection by their own strength. We can't give anything. We don't have anything to give. We can only give if we have the Shakti, the potency given by the Lord. Only then we can give. We have nothing for ourselves. We are just minute particles. What kind of minute particle give? Nothing. We don't have any opulences. All the opulences are with the Lord, and if he wants to give us any opulence, whether it's knowledge, strength, beauty, wealth, whatever it is, it has to come from the Lord. So 24. Sarva Sadguna Mahitme Aisha Krishna Anuvritha Ranti Dev Ibodaro Yayati Eva Dharmikha. So Sarv Sadguna Mahatme, so glorified by all godly attributes. Aisha, this child. Krishna, like Lord Krishna. Anuvritha, the follower in his footsteps. Rantidev, so that's Rantideva. Odev, Eva, like Udharaha, in the matter of magnanimity. Yayati, Eve, like Dharmikaha, concerning religion. So this child will be almost as good as Lord Shri Krishna by following in his footsteps. Wow. This child will be almost as good as Lord Shri Krishna by following in his footsteps. In magnanimity, he will become as great as King Rantidev. And in religion, he'll be like Maharaj Yati. So they really have not left any great personality out for Maharaj Parikshit. So the last instruction of Lord Shri Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita is that one should give up everything and should follow in the footsteps of the Lord alone. Less intelligent persons do not agree to this great instruction of the Lord, as ill luck would have it, but one who is actually intelligent catches up this sublime instruction and is immensely benefited. Foolish people do not know that association is the cause of acquiring qualities. Associate with fire makes an object hot, even in the material sense. Therefore, association with Supreme Personality of Godhead makes one qualified like the Lord. So association rubs off. Whoever you associate with, it rubs off on you. Whether it's divine or demons, you will get those qualities whether you want them or not. It's the law that's how it works. You will get those qualities. As we have discussed previously, one can achieve 78% of the godly qualities by the Lord's intimate association. To follow the instructions of the Lord is to associate with the Lord. The Lord is not a material object whose presence one has to feel for such association. So we get these 78% qualities, but not in the same quantity as the Lord, just in minute quantities. The Lord is not a material object whose presence one has to feel for such association. The Lord is present everywhere and at all times. It is quite possible to have his association simply by following his instruction, because the Lord and his instruction and the Lord and his name, his fame, attributes, paraphernalia are all identical with him, being absolute knowledge. So is everything associated with the Lord is the Lord himself. Maharaj Parikshit associated with the Lord even from the womb of his mother up to the last day of his valuable life. In fact, actually last minute, last second of his life. And thus he acquired all the essential good qualities of the Lord in all perfection. And just mentioning Rantidev, so an ancient king prior to Mahabharata period, referred to by Narad Muni while instructing Sanjay. As mentioned in Mahabharata, he was a great king, liberal for hospitality and distribution of foodstuff. Even Lord Shri Krishna praised his acts of charity and hospitality. He was blessed by the great Vashishta Muni for supplying him cold water, and thus he achieved the heavenly planet. He used to supply fruits, roots and leaves to the rishis, and thus he was blessed by them with fulfillment of his desires. So although a Kshatriya by birth, he never ate flesh in his life. He was especially hospitable to Vashishta Muni, and by his blessing only he attained the higher planetary residence. He is one of those pious kings whose names are remembered in the morning and evening. So that's Rantidev. And we know King Yayati, the great emperor of the world and the original forefather of all great nations of the world who belong to the Aryan and Indo-European stock. He is the son of Maharaj Nahush, and he became the emperor of the world due to his elder brothers becoming a great and liberated saintly mystic. He ruled over the world for several thousand of years and performed many sacrifices and pious activities recorded in history. Although his early youth was very lustful and full of romantic stories, he fell in love with Devyani, the most beloved daughter of Shukracharya. Devyani wished to marry him, but at first he refused to accept her because of her being a daughter of a Brahman. According to the Shastras, so this is the rule. According to the Shastras, a Brahman could marry the daughter of a Brahman. They were very much cautious about Varn Sankar population in the world. Shukracharya amended this law of forbidden marriage and induced Emperor Yayati to accept Devyani. So Devyani had a girlfriend named Sharmishta who also fell in love with the emperor and thus went with her friend Devyani. So Shukracharya forbade Emperor Yati to call Sharmishta into his bedroom, but Yati could not strictly follow his instruction. So although he was a great king, but had his weaknesses, he secretly married Sharmishta also and begot sons by her. When this was known by Devyani, she went to her father and lodged a complaint. Yati was much attached to Devyani, and when he went to his father-in-law's place to call her, Shukracharya was angry with him and cursed him to become impotent. So Yati begged his father-in-law to withdraw his curse, but the sage asked Yati to ask youthfulness from his sons and let them become old as the condition of his being potent. So story is that he had 5 sons, 2 from Devyani and 3 from Sharmishta. From his 5 sons, namely Yadu, Turvasu, Druhu, Anu, and the 5th Puru, 5 famous dynasties, namely the Yadu dynasty, from Yadu, and the Yavan, the Turkish dynasty. So let's go Turvasu, and the Boj dynasty, the Malechas, the Greeks dynasty, that's the Anu, and the Purav dynasty, all emanated to spread all over the world. He reached by heavenly planets by dint of his pious acts, but he fell down from there because of his self-advertisement and criticizing the other great souls. After his fall, his daughter and grandson bestowed upon him the accumulated virtues, and by the help of his grandson and friend Shibi, he was again promoted to the heavenly kingdom, becoming one of the assembly members of Yamraj, with whom he is staying as a devotee. He performed more than 1,000 different sacrifices, gave in charity very liberally, and was a very influential king. His majestic power was felt all over the world. His youngest son agreed to award him his youthfulness. So he went to all his sons, if they could help him, because they had somewhat longer to live. So he asked them whether they could help him and bestow some youthfulness in him by giving him their youthfulness. So his youthful when he was troubled with lustful desires. His majestic power was felt all over the world. His youngest son, who was Puru, agreed to award him his youthfulness when he was troubled with lustful desires, even for 1,000 years. Finally, he became detached from worldly life and returned the youthfulness again to his son Puru. So his son gave him his youthfulness, but after coming to his senses, Maharaj Yati, he returned the youthfulness to his son Puru. And what an amazing son he was, Puru. Of all the 5 sons, he was the only one who agreed to give him. So he wanted to hand over the kingdom to Puru as well, understandably. But his noblemen and the subjects did not agree. When he explained to his subjects the greatness of Puru, they agreed to accept Puru as the king. And thus Emperor Yati retired from family life and left home for the forest. So it shows that we are allowed to make mistakes. Even Bhagavad-Gita says again and again that a devotee can make mistake, but as long as he corrects it and comes back on the path, then it's okay. Krishna, how many mistakes? We've been here for millions and millions of lives, and one of our defects is making mistakes. Anyway, so making a mistake is really not big deal for us. It's not it's not a big astonishment. Oh, someone made a mistake. This is what we do all day long. We make mistakes, sometimes small mistakes, and occasionally we make very big mistakes. So Krishna, he allows for that. He doesn't look at our mistakes. He looks at our good points. So yeah. So Pura, I guess his nobleman subject did not agree because he was probably the youngest child, and they probably wanted to award the kingdom to one of his elder brothers, and but because he did amazing for his father, so naturally he wanted to give him the kingdom at the time. Wonderful. So just to add 24. So it says that you can be almost as good as Krishna. That was the Maharaj picture. It can be almost as good as Krishna. You cannot be good as Krishna, but you can be almost as good as Krishna. So we can get 78% qualities Krishna by following his instructions. That's same as associating with him. He's absolute. So how do we develop good qualities? Krishna is a perfect being with all the qualities. If we associate Krishna constantly, regularly, seriously, and we will imbibe his qualities. That is automatic. Example of iron rod in fire, for long enough will also become fire. So Srila Prabhupada gives this example that if you put an iron rod, a cold, solid iron rod in fire, that will also become red hot like fire. So if a cold metal rod can get the qualities of what he associates with, then why wouldn't we get the qualities? It doesn't matter how hard-hearted we are, how cold we are. When we associate with devotees, when we associate with Krishna's name, the holy name, chanting the Mahamantra, we will get those qualities will rub off on us. So we associate with Krishna through Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as well, his pastimes, his holy names. Through prasadam, through serving his paraphernalia, for example, clean the temple, cleanse his arti tray, the altar. Krishna consciousness means, can I associate with Krishna throughout the day and night? So not just chanting, we have 9 types of devotional service. So, we can do whichever that comes our way, we can do those services. So in terms of magnanimity, Krishna is compared to Yati. He never gave up despite his shortcomings. So that was Yati, that he knew he had weaknesses, but he worked on them. The elephant Gajendra was very powerful. The crocodile was not anyway as strong, but the crocodile had the advantage of Gajendra because he attacked Gajendra in the water. This was the territory of the crocodile. So Gajendra could not defeat the crocodile. So the lesson, mentioning of Gajendra out of the blue, is that the lesson is, don't fight Maya in her own territory. So this is a lesson for all of us. Do not try to fight Maya. The illusory energy, as we mentioned here, the great emperors were deluded, the great rishis were deluded by this illusory energy. So even Shiva gets deluded by this illusory energy. So don't try to fight this in Maya in its own territory, which means, you will lose, but if one has weakness, one should shield one with the proper association in Krishna consciousness. So, in other words, that if you try to fight Maya directly in its own territory, then you will lose. But if you protect yourself with the holy name, then you are in a different territory. You're not in the illusory territory where it can attack you. You are in the spiritual territory, and Krishna is much stronger than Maya, and he's the Lord of Maya. So practice Krishna consciousness in a safe, healthy environment, so that one can become stronger and can become purified and overpower the lusty desires. This way, Yati was able to overcome lust and detach himself from the material world. Srila Prabhupada says in Bhagavad-Gita that while we have this material body, desires will always come. That's automatic, so also natural that desires will come in this material body, but it's up to us that we shield ourselves, we protect ourselves from desires. It's not that we are like 100% purified and nothing can touch us. We have become invincible now. We're chanting the holy name. No, that is not the case. We still have this material body, a material body has not spiritualized. So the desires will always come. We still have the senses, we have the mind. So we have so many obstacles to contend with. So, we should protect ourselves with the holy name, always keep our consciousness and intelligence directed towards the holy name and protect it from, outside influences. That's the way. Otherwise, if we let it loose, if we let the mind loose, if we let the intelligence loose, and mind and intelligence, they are each other's neighbors. You let one of them loose, it will, they have association of each other. It will influence the other one. So you have to be very careful controlling the mind. And then the senses are also neighbors of the mind. So senses, mind, intelligence, and it's mentioned in I think chapter 3 of the Bhagavad-Gita that where does lust lie? It lies in the senses, in the mind, in the intelligence. So you have to be detached from that. You have to make your sadhana strong, so you can fight the lust that is always there. You have to keep a check on it, because it will attack Maya, as lust can attack you anytime. Usually attacks through the senses, but sometimes there will be nothing to attack. There'll be nothing to look at, to hear, and then where does these attractions come from? They come from the mind. So it can happen from externally and internally as well, through the mind. The mind can think of something, some thought will come in the mind, or from external you see something like that. So we always have to be careful and keep ourselves 24/7 in service of the Lord, because don't let the mind be idle, and protect your intelligence by protecting the mind, and protect the mind by protecting the intelligence. Thank you so much. We're going to leave it here. So we've done the 23 and 24, and now we can have a little discussion. Hare Krishna. Okay. Right, we'll ask Hina Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji, and then we go to Kiran Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. Hare Krishna everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. With these verses, I think my key points were around how, in the first verse, it emphasizes how Maharaj Parikshit was given 7 days notice, which I was thinking about how such a blessing compared to the average person who gets no notice. I guess people in general often will see their loved ones dying. They will see death around them throughout their life, but I don't think they really process or accept that one day the same fate will happen to them. They are generally, this is people in general I'm talking about, under quite a lot of illusion. I think people have this, I guess they feel that they want to live forever. And, you think about, where does that come from? Well, it comes from because the soul is eternal. The soul does want, that it wants that eternal happiness. And it wants to, it doesn't want to think about death, because it's not subjected to death, as we know from the Gita. But the problem is the jiva is actually seeking something eternal in a temporary place. That's the problem. And then there was a nice point around how we get a large majority of the Lord's qualities through association, in small quantities of those qualities in association with him, which really does emphasize the importance of association with saintly people, with other devotees. They are the only shelter in this material world, and I think we're so fortunate that also in this age that we've got access to all these digital advancements. So there's, we can take association digitally. We can listen to lectures on the other side of the world. We can do this remotely. So we really have no excuse. Just use all these facilities as in Krishna's service as much as we possibly can to get that association. So thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's this world is a dangerous place, and there's vipadas on every step, and there's danger lurking everywhere. I think if we think about it like that, then we would be careful. I think we've become complacent that either that we have become very strong or there is no danger, and that's when we get caught out. Thank you, Mataji, so much. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Very true what Mataji said. There is a notice on all of us. Parikshit had a notice of 7 days. We have a notice, but we don't know what the expiry date of that notice is. And we should be mindful that that notice of eviction could come at any time. And so we should be engaged in the association of pious devotees, because the influence of Maya is quite pernicious. And that is why the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam was written, because the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Parikshit are synonymous with each other. Parikshit was the grandson of Yudhishthira, a Raja Rishi. And hence, these were very elevated souls who came and gave us highest values and principles. And this is a journey that we make in the illusory world of Maya. And sometimes the journey that we make is such that you can't do right from doing wrong. And people will say to you, well, why are you wasting your time getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning? Why are you chanting for 2 hours? Chanting is praying effectively. Why are you reading? Why are you spending 5-7 hours a day? Why? Why do others spend time doing other things in the material world? This is the choice we have chosen to make after 8,400,000 life forms. And so therefore, Dharma is the right way. The dharmic journey is the right way. You can be mesmerized by the illusion of Maya Devi. Even Brahma, even Shiva, the demigods, were perplexed. Vishnu created illusions even for these demigods. Brahma thought he was the only creator, but there's lots of Brahmas in this multiverse. Shiva was mesmerized by a female, but this was the creation of Vishnu to show that this is a mere illusion and that's all it is. We have to create and walk the footsteps that the Lord walks along, and we can do it through the associations of the type of people that we interact with. We have to detach from the material world to such an extent that there is no other way. This is the divine path, and the divine path will ultimately fulfill our lives. There were those kings that were mentioned who never ate flesh. You could tell that these were very illustrious, illuminated souls. There was mention of great dynasties which transcended Greece and Turkey and beyond. My children have just come back from South Asia in Bali, where there's lots of temples. Vietnam has lots of temples. Indonesia had lots of temples. Malaysia had lots of temples. How far was Bharatvarsha at that time? The lure of Hinduism is so powerful. And even the Hindus in Hinduism aren't interested in their own faith. Develop these qualities because these will be the only liberating forces. Those characteristics of the Vaishnavas will give us the opportunity to become like other very important Vaishnavas. And the important thing that was said was we are allowed to make mistakes. To err, to make mistakes is human. Ajmela was a mendicant. He was a monk. He would not be influenced by other things. But the issue of lust was mentioned in this verses here. Lust took over him. He fell in love with a prostitute. And he left his wife for a prostitute. But even at the time of nearing his death, he called to Narayan, his son. But the Lord thought he was calling him. The Vishnudevs and the negative powers came to fight for his soul. And hence, at the time of death, even you can be saved if you take the right path. So it's important that the mind and sense control is there all the time. They will protect your intelligence. And it was necessary that, that we learn from these scriptures that this opportunity is so powerful that we must take full grasp of the nettle. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, so many things. Now it's interesting that we talk about illusory energy, and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam came about by the influence of illusory energy, because Maharaj Parikshit, it was not like him to behave in the way he did. It's not like him. He's a Kshatriya, he's a warrior. He can fight anything, anybody, and we've seen what a great personality he was. He was very close in qualities to Krishna, and yet he could not tolerate, first of all, his thirst, which, for a warrior, it shouldn't be a problem. He could not tolerate what he thought was an insult. But if he's a great personality, he shouldn't have a problem, with whether he has respect or not, or he's not respected. It shouldn't make not that much difference to him anyway, to go to the extreme that he went, and he regretted his actions. He doesn't know what come over him, and sometimes happens to us. We don't know what came over us. Sometimes, the anger is a very dangerous thing as well, that it can, you can go into bewilderment, as mentioned, that, we're not ourselves, we're not in equanimity of mind when we do this. And these things is mentioned here. He had equanimity just like Yudhishthira and Lord Brahma, yet he acted outside his character. And then the Brahman boy is a child, but for a Brahman to do what he did, to take revenge and show anger, that was not what Brahmins do either. They don't go revenge, especially against their own king. So illusory energy is everywhere, and just I think that's the really highlight here today in these verses, how strong illusory energy is. They build up Maharaj Parikshit so much his qualities and everything, but yet, even despite all his qualities, when the time came for his test, he made a mistake. He realized afterwards that that's not like me. How did this happen? So, how careful we have to be of illusory energy. This is like, these pastimes are supposed to, make us beware, like a big poster, beware of illusory energy, because who are you when it can affect these people? You don't stand a chance. So guard yourself with the Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Prabhu. Rosemary.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. Yes, it's a difficult situation for us in this world. On one point, we think that we are taking shelter of Krishna, and on the other side, Maya is attacking us all the time. So, to me, it seems that no matter how much we prepare ourselves during this life, for our last crucial moment, we don't know what's going to happen. If only Krishna can give us the causeless mercy, that is going to help us. So that is why we remember Krishna every day. We offer our obeisances to him. We offer our little sadhana to him in our cooking, in our living, in our day-to-day life. So nothing is in our hands. It's all in Krishna's hands. End of the day, if it is meant to be good for us, our souls, despite our efforts in this life, it will be. If it is not meant to be, it is not meant to be. So we can only ask for Krishna's causeless mercy, that he guide us all the time, he protect us all the time, because without Krishna, we are totally helpless. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you so much. Thank you. And association is very important. So let's keep associating and discuss Krishna Katha, and always keep our mind on the Lord, and give so many examples of how we serve: by hearing, by chanting, by serving. We have extended temples at home, so keep serving, come to temple, serve, and keep ourselves occupied, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to release us from this material energy. Otherwise, we'll be stuck life after life, birth after birth, and we can't release ourselves. We are already. How can a person who's tied up, release somebody who's not tied up? Has to come and release them, and we've been shown the way how that can be done. So let's follow that. So Granth-raj Bhagavatam ki jai,
Srila
Prabhupada ki jai, Gol Premanande Hari Hari Bol, and we'll catch up on Monday. And if you have time, please come on Sunday. And it's a very, very nice, very important Kartik month. And we can do more katha and also listen to Dhammastakam all together and take association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, thank you.